Zero Carbon 2030, a series of podcasts from Argan Solutions. This episode, how to prepare for the electric vehicle revolution. Whether you like it or not, the EV revolution is coming, and it's even more likely now after the recent government announcement that the sale of new diesel and petrol cars, including hybrids, will be banned from 2035. From an electrical grid perspective, this raises all sorts of problems. The key one being, how will the grid cope with the delivery of all this new power demand? Specifically, if you're looking to install EV charging, either at home, commercially, industrially, town or city scale, how do you model the implications on your grid requirements? And how can solar and or energy storage help you manage the limits within your network? One of the key problems facing EV installations relates to the imposition of physical electricity import constraints, which is the sister issue of that faced by the renewables industry over the past 5 years in the UK and emerging markets elsewhere. Currently, the main issue facing installers of renewables and or energy storage are export limits. These restrict the power allowed to be exported back to the grid from any site. Given the intermittency of renewable generation, many distribution network operators, or DNOs, the businesses that manage the local distribution of electricity, have to impose restrictions on the maximum power that can be exported back to the grid at any time to ensure that the voltage levels and so on remain within physical limits. Voltage, for example, will rise if there's too much generation, which can cause most, if not all, electrical equipment to fail, hence the restrictions. These export limits are either static, same limit all year, or dynamic, via active network management or time of use restrictions. Electric vehicles will start to cause similar physical limits. As a result, if you're intending to install EV infrastructure, your physical electrical network will have limits that will either need to be upgraded at a cost, possibly sizable, or managed to keep within existing limits. This means that if we're going to transition the electrical grid system to one where there are suddenly millions of vehicles charging at similar times, there will either be significant investment costs to upgrade networks or significant control and management issues to ensure power is shared appropriately within the physical constraints. In turn, this means that if you're going to invest in EVs, then you'll need to be properly assured as to whether you can meet this additional electric demand and or what the best combination of alternative energy provision, for example, energy storage and or renewables, would be to deliver the required load on site as opposed to that from the grid. This is where we are really excited, as we have now integrated EV analysis into GridMap to allow clients to analyse the optimum ways to manage these upcoming risks. In essence, if you're planning to add EV demand to your network, you have to consider whether your existing connection, 1, will cope with adding your proposed EV charging demand without breaking existing limits. 2, will allow additional EV within your limits by optimising the interaction of energy storage and or renewables. Or 3, you'll need smarter control to dynamically manage the loads. If we're going to crack the 2030 zero carbon target, we believe that very quickly we'll need to assess the right investment and strategies to enable this transition. Key questions that you may want to consider. 1. What is the optimal energy storage capacity and power combination to deliver EV requirements so that physical limits are not broken? 2. What is the investment case for this? And 3. How can solar and or wind improve this investment? With these kind of questions answered, you can then approach your management and finance providers with the right information to ensure your critical transport investments are appraised with the right information. GridMap has been built for this specific reason and would love to help you analyse your project at any scale. Thank you for listening. For more information, please search Argan Solutions or contact Fraser Durham, fraser@argandsolutions.com. Podcasting for brands. I am thehound.com.